Donald Trump says he expects to be indicted again by special counsel Jack Smith. Just moments ago, the former president writing on Truth Social this: "I hear that deranged Jack Smith, in order to interfere with the presidential election of 2024, will be putting out yet another fake indictment of your favorite president, me, at 5 p.m. Why didn't they do this 2.5 years ago? Why did they wait so long? Because they wanted to put it right in the middle of my campaign. Prosecutorial misconduct," unquote. The grand jury, who will decide on whether or not to indict Trump over alleged election interference, they met earlier today. So Griff Jenkins, he's outside the D.C. courthouse where they were meeting. And Griff, can you give us your report? What did you see?
Hey, Dana, good afternoon. And obviously that Truth Social post was made by the former president at 4:41, saying that there was going to be this 5 o'clock news. We have not yet seen that, but we have been watching here outside the courthouse all day long about whether or not we could see indictments come. And the security around this courthouse did pick up. Noticeably, the first thing we noticed this morning when we came here, Dana, was the Federal Protective Service put some patrol cars out in front of the courthouse, still here behind me. The grand jury, as you mentioned, came and met today. Slowly, they trickled all afternoon out. We believe it appears they're gone for the day. So we're really watching and waiting. But if you go back to when we first began to really watch closely, it was when that target letter on July 16th went to Trump's attorneys. Our sources telling us in that target letter, there were about 3 areas that the source said that the president could possibly be charged on. One was deprivation of rights under color of law pertaining to civil rights charges of sorts, along with the conspiracy to commit offense or defraud the U.S. and a third area of charges that could include witness tampering. We don't know if there's even going to be an indictment or what's in there. This is just what we know was the nature of the target letter, which, as you know, typically leads us to a possible indictment. Now, we were really on high alert last Thursday out here because we knew that Trump's attorneys met with Jack Smith and his counsel at Jack Smith's office. Nothing came Thursday afternoon, Friday over the weekend. Now here we are on Tuesday afternoon with the former president saying he expects a press conference that will make an announcement of these indictment charges. We can't confirm that. We're just watching and waiting, Dana.
Okay, thank you for setting this stage for us. Let's get to David Spun. He's at the Department of Justice. We're going to talk to you, and then we'll take it around the table here. Hi, David.
Hi, Dana. Hi, everyone. Listen, we are waiting for some sense of news from the Department of Justice. Nothing from special counsel Jack Smith, who's obviously attached to the Department of Justice, waiting to get that information. But if the former president is correct and he is indicted, this would mark his 3rd indictment, and there could possibly be a 4th indictment. That's down in Georgia. That's a state charge being run by the Fulton County prosecutor, Fani Willis. She's gone on the record, Dana, and everyone at the table multiple times, in fact, giving a television interview recently saying that her office is ready to go. That's an investigation relating to the conversation that the former president had on the phone, on tape, with Brad Raffensperger, the Georgia Secretary of State, shortly after the election, saying that he needed Raffensperger to find some 11,000 votes. So we're looking to see what happens here with Jack Smith, to see if the former president is indeed indicted, as he says. And we're also looking to see what happens in Georgia in the next few weeks. Willis has gone on the record to say that everything would be done, whatever everything means, by September 4th. So right now we watch and we wait. But clearly there is news brewing on both fronts. Dana.
David Spun, thanks.
Hey, listen, and I think a lot of you will agree with me when I make this statement. I don't care about 3 indictments, 4 indictments, 20 indictments. You know who I'm still supporting? Uncle Trump. Give me the guy with the most indictments. That's who I want. Pile them on. Have fun. Have at it. It's just going to make 2024 even that much more spectacular. That much better. You know, in my humble opinion. It's just going to make it that much better when he takes office again in 2025 and all of them get thrown in jail. Just saying. I'm just saying. Y'all agree? Let me know in the comment section.
Thank you. And it's interesting, Jesse, like President Trump is so media adept And so it's interesting to watch. Like, he can put out a little post or a little tweet, whatever it is, or a little, whatever method he's using, and the media runs to it. This does seem like it might be happening perhaps tonight.
He's front running it. We don't know anything. I don't know where Jack Smith is. We were said he was supposed to come out at 5. I don't know where he is. I don't know. If you don't think this is political, look at this. On March 17th, Hunter accidentally admits his laptop is his. The day after, Trump gets a notice that he's going to be indicted. June 8th, the FBI document drops that Biden took a $5 million bribe. The next day, June 9th, Mar-a-Lago indictment. July 31st, Devin Archer testifies that Joe was on the phone with the Hunter business partners. One day later, August 1st, Trump, January 6th indictment. So this is all coordinated. I've looked at these charges they said they're going to hit him with. One of these charges is conspiracy to make a false statement. It's a crime for a government official to make a false statement when they knew the statement was false.
Really? It's a crime for a government official to make a false statement when they knew the statement was false. Well, why aren't all of these Democrats arrested? Somebody please tell me. Russia hoax? Why aren't all of them arrested? Please tell me. Can anybody answer that question for me? If that is the case, that is how preposterous this stuff is against Uncle Trump. And listen, that's why I said I don't care. Throw on 100 indictments. I don't give, almost curse, an F about any of it. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. This is theater. This is theater. And when he takes office in 25, oh man. Talk about a glorious year, right? 2025 is going to be one of the best years. Boy, I tell you, 2025, 2026, those are going to be some of the best years ever. Some of them, man, I tell you, those going to go down in the history books. Sheesh, man, this is going to be amazing.
I mean, everyone in the government lies. I don't know how you can charge that. Obstruction of an official proceeding. Remember the January 6th situation, they delayed the certification for a couple hours. So that means when Code Pink disrupts a hearing, you could get hit with obstructing an official proceeding, okay? Then you have witness tampering. This says it is illegal to contact anybody before they testify before Congress. You're saying the Democrats never talked to any witness before they testified in front of a congressional hearing? Come on. These other charges, I don't know, deprivation of rights, I don't know. That looks like a very warped charge, conspiracy to defraud. We'll see what they come out with. Who knows? I do know Trump's tied with Biden. New York Times poll out, they're both tied. How are you trying to throw your opponent in prison and you still don't have a lead? How is that possible? And Joe Biden's at 39%. Yeah. Greatest economy in the world, and he's tied. Now, if Biden is tied with Donald Trump, statistically, he loses the election. Joe Biden or any Democrat has to be ahead of Donald Trump, a Republican, by at least 2 to 3 percentage points nationally because of the Electoral College. So he loses right now. Donald Trump is currently winning this election if it was held today, according to the New York Times. Now, what's going to happen is you're going to have impeachment. I believe you're going to have the inquiry in the fall. You're going to have impeachment going into 2024. Contrast it against Trump's federal court cases in 2024. So both guys are going to be going haywire. And, you know, the American people are going to be like, oh, my goodness. The lawyers are going to make
a lot of money.
Of course, as they always do.
For sure.
You know how I feel about lawyers.
I know how you feel. Jessica, how did the Democrats take that New York Times poll today that showed 43-43 tied Biden-Trump?
Well, we wet the bed, as is our practice. I think it's important. So first of all, there are a bunch of other polls that do have Biden up now. He used to be down in the Real Clear Politics average. Now he's up on average. But the New York Times Siena poll is a very reputable poll, and it had a lot of components to it that are quite startling for Democrats, like the gains that Trump has made amongst black voters, black men, I should point out, not black women, and with Latinos. The edge for Joe Biden was basically nil, right? It was 3 points, I think. Now, this happens frequently. We talked about this going into the midterms. There was all that discussion.
I've also touched on those points as well, that And I've shown the videos of black men supporting Donald Trump. Black women, is a different story. You know, as she pointed out there, Latinos supporting Uncle Trump. Even LGBTQ supporting Uncle Trump. And it's not just me saying it. I've shown you guys the videos of it, right? I have evidence of people openly supporting Uncle Trump. That's not stuff you would have seen a few years ago. So I definitely know that Uncle Trump is going to win in 24. They have no shot. No shot.
The Democrats are going to lose Latino voters, and then that isn't what happened at all. But you have to play every day like it's the most important day of your life. You can't take any constituency for granted.
Is that what he's doing at the beach?
No, that's not. You're pro-vacation.
But I am pro-vacation.
Yeah,
I want the government to go on vacation.
I would like one too. Just a little bit about the indictment, though. Listening to what Jesse said, I completely understand the fact that there are a lot of people who feel that way. When you look at the fact that Trump is tied with Biden right now, and he's quad-dicted by middle of August, we'd expect. Well, that's what we're calling it. I don't know what else to say. But there are some incredibly important facts that have come out about the January 6th case. Steve Bannon is on tape talking before the election about how they're going to act as if Trump won it before he even knows what's going to happen. You have Peter Navarro, who goes on TV bragging about this. He even wrote a book about how Steve Bannon has orchestrated the whole thing, and it's like a football team, and that he's the quarterback. I think they were the Green Bay Packers. I guess maybe he's from there. That's disturbing. And deprivation of rights is about nullifying people's constitutional right to be able to vote and have their vote counted. And this idea of minimizing January 6th down to Code Pink screaming about abortion rights or whatever in the atrium and what happened on January 6th is not going to fly with a majority of Americans.
Well, so indulge the FBI. The FBI deprived people of rights when they covered up the laptop, or the CIA.
What are you?
Who finagled the laptop? You know what I'm talking about.
No,
that's corruption before the election, and that denies people the rights.
Having a story, a New York Post story.
That is true, because I want to say there was a poll that came out that said a lot of folks would have changed their vote had they known about Hunter's laptop, the Hunter laptop situation. So he's definitely right.
Taken down for 24 hours, and what happened on January 6th are so utterly incomparable. I'm actually shocked at you.
Would it change the election?
I expect your mother will text me.
You're not shocked.
Greg, we actually don't know if there's going to be a press conference. We don't know if there's going to be an indictment, but I mean, something's going on.
It's just like old times, right? You have slow news, and all of a sudden Trump tweets, or in this case, truths, and we got an A block. If they're not careful, they will reelect Trump. I swear. I mean, if Trump were Popeye, indictments and impeachments, they're the spinach. Mm-hmm. I know that you said that what happened on January 6th is disturbing, but disturbing isn't illegal. If it were, I would get the chair. But I mean, there's nothing, I think for me, there's nothing that will ever be more offensive, disturbing than the riots, the Antifa riots and the BLM riots, and we got nothing. So I think that that's why the indictments on Trump and the impeachments, they feel like a political prosecution, a political persecution. And that's why it makes him stronger. It's going to make him even more of a folk hero than he already is. And like Jesse says, I mean,
to me, it seems like a death by 1,000 cuts. Because as we've kind of talked about here, and we've heard throughout all of this in previous videos as well, some of these charges are just like, wait, what? You serious? Like what he mentioned at the beginning, it's illegal for a government official to lie to tell a lie and they know they were lying, right? You serious? That has to be a joke, right? that's got to be a joke. Like, I feel like they're trying to garner a death by 1,000 cuts. Throw everything you got at Uncle Trump. Throw everything. Eventually, he'll run out of money. Eventually, he'll give in. Eventually, he'll just throw his hands up and say, you know what, I give up. That's what I think they want, is for him to just be like, all right, forget about it. I give up. I won't run. Just leave me alone. Or for him to run out of money. All right, I'm bankrupt. I don't have any more. I can't pay my lawyers anymore. I don't know. What do y'all think? Let me know in the comment section, please.
The timing is always so convenient. You know, and it's just a coincidence, of course, because but it does raise one question. Why do all the coincidences only break in one direction? Like there's never, it's like something good happens, something bad happens to the Democrats and, then somebody saves them. That never happens to the Republicans, right? It never breaks in the direction. It only goes in one direction, in one way. We investigate and punish Republicans, and you take it. If the Republicans try to investigate a Democrat, you still get punished, and you will take it. And now, I mean, what politics is, it's lawyers versus lawyers.
Yeah.
This is what politics is now. I don't even know, you don't need posters anymore. You don't need anybody. You don't need votes. Just put the lawyers against the lawyers. So now you hope your team, Republicans or Democrats, have the best lawyers so they can go after the other guy. But it feels like the Republicans don't. It never feels like they have the best lawyers in this. It's like they got them off
The Clinton impeachment.
Well, that was a long time ago.
Well, but those guys are still around. That's Bill Barr and all the elves. Now they're on the Supreme Court.
That's where they went. That's why the Republicans don't have any good lawyers. They're all in the Supreme Court.
And then they overturned Roe.
They feel like, that was you're right.
That was a great day.
That was a great day for all of us.
So,
and unborn children, Jessica.
Katie, the one thing that this does is it does keep the indictments. So even with the coincidences, which are really interesting, and I'm glad you pointed that out, because I often believe that the government gets credit for being creative or being really good and competent at what they do, and that usually it's just a coincidence. But those three right in a row, that is pretty telling.
Yeah.
But I also,
Facts.
the other thing is, you don't have many people who are neutral on Trump or Biden, right? They are now in the New York Times is saying, okay, it's 43-43, and you got this small little bit of independents who are persuadable on either side. But the other thing this does is make sure that the thing that people care the most about, which is their pocketbook, and their being nickeled and dimed to death by all of these little regulations and the taxes, and they're just feeling like they're suppressed economically. They don't believe that Bidenomics is working for them, but we aren't really talking about any sort of economic plan. Ron DeSantis put one out yesterday. It was like a 10-point plan. It was like poof into the ether.
But that's why the media loves this, though, because it keeps Trump in the news with the indictments, and it allows Biden to be at the beach while his team touts Bidenomics on Twitter and acts like that's working. If you look at the year ahead in the election, it is election interference. I mean, this is going to change the election. This will be an election that we've never seen before. You know, there's talk about Donald Trump being pulled off the campaign trail because he's going to have to be fighting one of these many indictments in court. And it looks pretty fishy and smells when the President of the United States has a Department of Justice that continues to indict President Joe Biden's top political opponent on these charges. And look, there's a big difference between a grand jury returning an indictment. It doesn't have to be unanimous, and the prosecutors and at DOJ having to come back and prove these cases beyond a reasonable doubt. The reason there's so much skepticism about these indictments is because the Justice Department does not have a good track record when it comes to going after Donald Trump, whether it was the special counsel, the Russia collusion, I mean, for years on end. And when it comes to the American people looking at this and President Trump becoming more popular in the GOP primary, but just normal people, the majority actually think that the federal government is far too powerful.
Yep.
And if you can't get something to stick and you continue to run someone like Trump through the ringer without actually having anything, people lose faith in their institutions. And this does not do anything to give
and
that
then
back
the Democrats
to the
cry
FBI or DOJ.
about the lack of trust in institutions.
And the death of norms as well.
I went on Brian.
Yeah, and I think all of this is going to come back to bite them in the behind for a few different reasons, but I'll touch on a couple now. One being the obvious one. Since this began, well, I guess I shouldn't say since this began, but no, actually, since it really began, since these indictments really started dropping, Trump's poll numbers have only gone up. They've only gone up. He's only increased his lead in the primaries. Like, people have only supported him more than they previously did, right? I mean, I guess it doesn't help when your primary opponents are basically all garbage except for Vivek and maybe Tim, and I'm not even the biggest fan of Tim personally. Tim is a distant third. I like Vivek. Y'all know I'm not a fan of DeSantis. DeSantis is trash and establishment to me. He just reeks of establishment. Just reeks of it. But on top of that, like she mentioned there, if you go through all of this to come up with nothing once again, not only have you put Trump in the presidency because his poll numbers have just gone up, but now you've lost credit or lost, you've lost, what's the word I'm looking for? People don't believe you anymore. We'll just say it that way, right? People don't believe you anymore. So now when Trump says, hey, let's get rid of some of these 3-letter organizations, I think that's a good thing. As a matter of fact, in place of them, we'll have a smaller organization, and the money that we're saving, we'll lower your taxes so that we don't tax you as much because we don't need that money anymore as the government. Oh, I think a lot of people are going to get behind that. They don't believe you anymore. They think you're a useless organization at this point because you've been attacking this man year after year after year, indictment after indictment after indictment, and come up with nothing. Nothing. And he comes up and he offers to slash you into a very tiny organization and cut everybody's taxes, put money in everybody else's pockets. Now you've royally fucked yourself because people are like, oh yeah, they're useless anyway. Why are we paying them? Put more money in our pocket. You see what I mean? Like, it's going to come back to bite them. It's going to come back to bite them. If they aren't able to lock Trump up and completely throw away the key, they're screwed. I mean, for a lack of any better terms, they're cooked. You know, it's over with. It's over. So I say bring it. Throw every indictment you can at them. Please do. Throw even more. Throw 100 at them. Just saying. Throw 100 indictments at them. Even if you only got one, even if you got one to stick, you're still screwed. You're still screwed. You know, so that's the way that I see it. But of course, I could always be wrong. You know, I'm still new to politics. So, yeah, y'all let me know your thoughts and your opinions on all of this in the comment section. Are you losing support for Uncle Trump? Are you starting to wane? Or are you like, no, now I know my decision is correct? That's where I'm at, personally. I'm like, no, I'm not moving. Because now I feel like I know my decision is correct. This reeks of corruption. This reeks of corruption. Why would they go after someone so hard with charges like government officials lying and knowing that they're lying? Like, that's allegedly, all of this is alleged, of course. That's allegedly one of the charges. Are you joking? You serious? When we just had the Russian hoax revealed, like, you're joking, right? Y'all let me know how y'all feeling. Does this increase your support? Are you losing support for Uncle Trump? Let me know. Talk to me. And how do your friends and family or the people you talk to around you about politics, how do they feel about this as well? All right? Y'all stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.